Price Hill. There's three areas of Price Hill. There's Lower Price Hill, East Price Hill, and West Price Hill. We originally started out in Lower Price Hill, and then over the 25 years that BLOC has been going on, we have now moved to all three areas, and we have ministries within. BLOC was started 24 years ago by Dwight and Stephanie Young. Dwight was a youth pastor at a local church, and he and Stephanie kept noticing that there were so many youth in Lower Price Hill area that were hanging out on the streets. They weren't involved in sports, they weren't involved in after-school programs, so he actually took a big leap of faith. He stepped away from his salary position at church and walked into full-time outreach ministry in Lower Price Hill. He started with an after-school program, and he was known as the ponytailed pizza and ice cream man. He brought us LaRosa's Pizza and UDF ice cream to bribe him to come. Every week they would do a Bible study together, and then they would help with homework and endless board games and basketball games. And as they gained the trust of the youth, and the youth began to open up to their situations, and after that, we now have 30 ministries under the umbrella of BLOC. We have 2 after-school programs, one in West Price Hill and one in East Price Hill, and one in Lower Price Hill. We have fitness center, we have an arts ministry, we have a teaching kitchen, we have men's ministries for men in addiction, we have women's ministries for women in addiction. Our newest thing we're excited to open in October. We actually built a barn in Price Hill, and we have horses that have been donated, and we are going to start equestrian therapy for the community. And we also recently acquired 60 acres out in Mount Ord, which is about 45 minutes east, and it is going to be a farm for minors that have been rescued out of sex trafficking. Right now, Children's Hospital has a watch list of about 300 children that they are watching that they suspect are intimate. My journey with BLOC began in 2017. I was researching different women's ministries and came across the Redeemed Home, which is one of our ministries. It is a long-term intervention program for women that are active in addiction and survival sex and sex trafficking. And it's for women that come out of that, and they stay with that program for about 12 to 18 months. The difference between our program and some of the other sober living programs in that area is we introduce them to Jesus. It's not just about how many meetings, it's not just about how many sober days, it's about healing you from the inside out and allowing God to redeem and heal and restore. BLOC, I've kind of skipped over this. BLOC's an acronym. You notice there's no C on it. It's believing in the power of hope. We believe there's no situation or person that is hopeless, right? We introduce them to Jesus. The L stands for living where we serve. That was one thing Dwight and Stephanie learned really early on. They had a horse farm in Harrison, and Stephanie especially is a big outdoor person. So moving into Price Hill was hard for her. But they actually had one of their youth in the after-school program that was shot. And as they got call about this, Dwight's trying to race and get to that family, and their youngest daughter said, "You know what, Mom, we should be living there so we can be there and we can be hands-on and open up our home to the families and do these things." So that is the requirement. We all live in Price Hill. O is one-to-one relationships, and C is Christ in us. So as I said, I started in 2017 with Redeemed Home. I worked there, I volunteered there about 8 months, and at that time I was going to approach BLOC about coming on full-time. But how many of us know that God orders our steps, right? And even though He had placed the desire in my heart to do this, it just wasn't the time. And I unexpectedly was offered a position as an outreach director and the church pianist at a church up north. And so I moved to Wapakoneta for about 2 years and was up there. And then right before the governor shut down the state, March 31st, I moved back to Cincinnati in 2020 and began my journey full-time with BLOC Ministries. I work as the house manager for Weightless Anchor. I'll do this. Weightless Anchor is a daytime hospitality home for women that are active in addiction, survival sex, and sex trafficking. My women are the women that pretty much work the streets of Warsaw Avenue. So if you drive up Warsaw, you'll see one of my women usually. If you go to the next one, I'll show you kind of our journey houses-wise. It started in 2012 in the blue one, and that's Lower Price Hill. And how that came about as they were working with the after-school kids in Lower Price Hill, they began to see the women working on State Avenue. So they started the daytime hospitality home. As the businesses closed and the activity kind of began to get, a lot of the dope boys moved up the hill. The women moved up the hill with them. So then we moved into the middle one in 2015 on Mansion Avenue. And then just this April, we were just blessed with this beautiful, beautiful, humongous 6-bedroom home that we now also are planning on opening a pregnancy center called Beloved. And we're also able to partner. We partner with different, it's really cool. We actually partner with some government agencies, and they come into our facilities, so they cannot tell us that we cannot speak the word of God, because they're actually in our domain, right? So we partner with Hamilton County Public Health. We partner with UC Health, which does HIV and Hep C testing. We partner with Caracol and Equitas, which if any of our women do test positive for HIV, they walk with them to get them their medicines and the different things. So, and the pink-haired lady, if you can see her, that's my boss, Andrea. Andrea is the director of Weightless Anchor, and she is known all over town. She walks all over town, and she's known as the pink-haired lady who loves God and can get you in recovery. We are open 5 days a week. You go to the next one. We're open 5 days a week, and the women can come in and they get a hot meal. They can get a shower, a clean outfit. We provide hygiene bags, which has all the little miniature kind of hotel hygienes for them. They can do laundry. They can come in and hang out, watch a movie. We have this amazing, with the new facility, we have a beautiful living room now. Come in and watch a movie and take a nap. The naps are big because some of our women, all of our women live out on the streets, and usually they'll come in and haven't slept for 3 or 4 days. So when we start to hear the snoring, we know that they know they're safe. The clothing room, this is one of my favorite places. The clothing room, first of all, it can be annoying sometimes because you know us women like to shop, right? So our women like to get clothes too, and they don't want to leave, right? So we're like, look, we got a line, you got to get it. But it's also a time where the women begin to open up. You know, they don't have to make that eye-to-eye contact. So they'll begin to share with me, you know, how this started. And, you know, I hear some of these women's stories of how it started, and if I'd gone through some of the trauma that they went through, I probably would be a heroin-addicted woman working on a street corner. A lot of it started very early at an age, and know that not one of our women woke up one day and said, you know, I think it'd be really cool to be addicted to drugs and work a street corner. So we get a lot of that shared. All of our clothing is donated. And I was sharing with somebody, I think sometimes people just kind of clean out their closet and dump it off on us, so we get some interesting things. And I'm that annoying one that tries to get the women to wear it. This hat came in. And I was like, you should really wear this. I mean, you're going to look great on Warsaw Avenue with this hat. So they were all trying it on. Taylor, who prayed, she said it was Easter bonnet, so she needed to pray. But if you notice my bold girl, Crystal, walking down the stairs, she actually took it and wore it, and they say they saw her all the way up Glenway with my hat on, so I was very proud of it. But also for them, it creates a bond, because for some of them, that's the only time they really just get innocent, goofy, get to be silly, with nothing serious going on. We also transport the women to detox and recovery, which is some of our favorite things to do. We go to the hospital and visit them when they're in the hospital. We also go to court with them. A lot of times we'll go to court and we will recommend to the judge that treatment is better for this woman versus jail time. I'd like to introduce you to Denise. Denise, recently we got to go to a different court with Denise, and this was, I'll probably cry on this one, so just apologize to me. Denise was my first time. I'd been in Waitless for 3 months, and it was my first time I went home, and I went, I don't know what I'm doing, and I have no business being here. It was right after we'd been able to open up with COVID, and we were opened up at a limited capacity. We were only letting 6 women in at a time, and they could only stay for 2 hours, so other women could come in. This was new. They were not used to this. They used to, we would pile them all in there, and they could stay for the full hours that we were open. Well, Denise did, for the first time, Andrea said, I got a meeting. It's just 3 streets over. I'll only be there about an hour. You're going to be okay. Oh, yeah, I got this. Denise shows up, and she doesn't know anything about these rules. She doesn't know who I am, and she's like, what do you mean I can't come in? And I said, well, just give me a little bit of time and I'll let you in. No, she pushed it. She came in. And we finally got her out, and she looked at me and she said, I'll be back, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to get the clothes I want. And I was like, okay. And she did. And if you look at that first picture, about a half an hour after we closed, she broke in. She managed to get her body through those bars. We did press charges, and when we went to court with her, we told the judge, if she will go to treatment, we will drop all the charges. And Denise ended up picking a program called Change Court. Change Court is through Judge Russell through Hamilton County. Judge Russell started this program, and it is the hardest programs of all the recovery programs. I mean, she could have gone 30 days to Cat House, and we would have been like, okay, and drop the charges. She chose this, and it's a 2-year program. You were in front of the judge every month. You get drug tested regularly, but this judge also gives you goals, and you must set goals and you must achieve goals. And Denise, in the middle picture, Denise was 1.5 years clean. She helped us when we moved into the new facility. She painted the prayer room. She loaded the U-Haul to help us move. And the third picture up there, you'll see that's a courtroom. That's Change Court graduation. Denise recently, just last month, graduated from Change Court. And when she got up, she said, I give all the glory to God. And it was the coolest day ever. If you know anybody that needs to go in recovery and is in Hamilton County, get them into this program. Our senators came in via Zoom from Washington, D.C. They said, we're sorry, we always come to the graduations, but Washington, we're in session right now. They congratulated her on her goals. She achieved her GED. She paid off all her fines and was able to get her license and was able to buy herself a car. She has worked for almost 2 years at the store Meijer at night, stocking the shelves. The governor wrote her a letter, and the state commissioner, even at this graduation, got up and stated that that day was in the state of Ohio, Denise Sweet Day. So it was incredible. Basically what we do is we let them know that they are loved and they are worthy of love. John 4:37 says, one sows, another reaps. And I believe at Weightless Anchor we are this step before the sowing. Before you can sow seeds, you have to break up the hard dirt. And we're breaking up the clumps of hurt that these women have had in their lives of abuse, molestation, abandonment, and all the horrors that they've experienced. Some of them have never had anyone show them love without expecting something in return. And at Weightless, we give them love with no cost. In closing, I'd like to very, very quickly introduce you to Donna. Donna was one of our women that was a regular at Weightless Anchor, and we really thought that we were going to see Donna on the coroner's list any day. Donna had been in and off the streets and addicted for over 25 years. The mugshot is the last time she was in jail. And she actually says that she gives a lot of the credit to Weightless Anchor because while she was in jail, she didn't expect anybody to come visit her. And our jail ministry came to visit, and she asked, how'd you even know I was here? And they said, well, Andrea sent us. I want to just read what Donna said. Last year, I had to speak at a church in Price Hill, and I was a little nervous about speaking. I didn't want to say something that would be misconstrued because there are people in Price Hill that do not like Weightless Anchor. They feel like we are the ones that are bringing prostitutes in, so if we were to leave, they would leave, which we know isn't true. And even some Christian friends have questioned me about, aren't you enabling? You hand out clothes, like, what are you doing? You're enabling. And I want to just share briefly what Donna said. She said, look, just tell them what Weightless was to me when I was on the streets. And I want to read this. She literally said this to me, and I had to pull over. We were driving when she said it, and I wanted to write it down. When I was grimy, I could come in for a shower. When I was hungry, you had a hot meal for me. You gave me clean clothes and a safe place to rest. It was a place of hope. You prayed for me when I couldn't do it for myself. At the time, Donna didn't realize that she had just paraphrased Matthew 25, 35, and 36. Ways you can help. I would like to ask that you keep Andrea and I in your prayers for protection. Price Hill can be rough sometimes. And then women who are high can sometimes be a little rough too. So please pray for protection. I'd also ask that you would pray. Paul prayed over the Ephesians church. He said that he asked that they would be strengthened by the power of the Holy Spirit in their inner being. We see a lot, we hear a lot, and we try really hard not to carry that personally, but a lot of times it does happen. So ways that you can also help besides prayer is you can volunteer. I know it seems like it's a far way, but right now I'm driving 4 times a week from here. It's 35 minutes one way. It's really not that far. If you're a woman and 18 years and older, we need volunteers. We also have, I have papers out in the thing. You can scan the codes. the QR codes. We have an Amazon wish list and a Target wish list. The hygiene products we can always use. Another way you can also help is, as a full-time missionary, BLOC does not pay our salary. I am support-based, so if you would like to partner with me in ministry by financially supporting me, that would be a great blessing. So thank you very much for letting me share.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think one of the big things that I hope this seminar will do is for us to quit referring to people as the homeless or the best treated people and see them as people created by God, individual people created by God. All right, Christine, Minister Larry, you guys want to arm wrestle or who wants to go next? Okay, Minister Larry from Servants to the Least of These.
So good to be here, so good to see you all, and I thank you that I have an opportunity to come here and share with you different ways that everybody can participate in the mission and ministry of Jesus Christ in this church. My name is Minister Larry Devereaux. I am the founder and the president of Service to the Least of These Homeless Outreach Ministry. And I'm just blessed. I mean, I had no idea that God was going to set up these kind of connections that's happening. This is a connection that just took place that would never happen if I hadn't been here. And she's in my neighborhood, but she serves the same area generally that we serve. We serve in the downtown Cincinnati area, which is connected to the Lower Price Hill, the Queensbend area. And so this is just how God works. He just causes connections to happen. If we're willing to step in by faith and do the things that Christ asked us to do. Our signature scripture is Matthew 25. And those that, how you treat the least of these is the way that you treat Christ. So this is what we have to determine while we're trying to do our best to walk as Jesus would have us to walk. How is it that we can do the things that we need to do to get impact in this world according to the teachings that Jesus has all taught us to do? So our mission is to see, and I'm glad that you used this term, but our mission is to see purpose-driven individuals formerly challenged by homelessness, who are productive in living out their purpose and destiny in Jesus Christ. So that's our vision. The vision is, how do you see things the way God wants you to see it? Okay, so this is what we see, and this is what we see every week when we go out and we serve that community. We want to see purpose-driven individuals. We don't want to see them as they are. We want to see them as God sees them. Set free, delivered, okay, cleaned up, and ready to actually serve. We've done this for 6 years now past. We're working on our 7th year. And we've helped, I want to ahead of myself, but we've helped so many people transition from homelessness to housing. We've done the best we can with the little group we have, just renting a cargo van and helping them to get the necessities that they need, beds and kitchen items and whatnot. But we've done that since we began, and I pretty much have lost count of how many people that we've helped. But when you look at the people we serve every week, it just seems like we haven't made a dent. It seems like the more you help folks, the more people are having problems, the more people is out there, you know. And this is the kind of world we live in. You know, we live in this world where, you know, we have to deal with the challenges of the way the world is bringing people to hopelessness. And it seems as though we're not doing it. It seems like we're not making a dent, but we are. You are. If you can bring Christ to just one person, you're making a difference. Because it's about sowing seed. And that one person can sow a seed to 10, 20, 30 people. So you never know the impact you make if you just help just one person. Okay? So that's our vision. Our mission, of course, is to meet the physical, spiritual, and emotional needs of those that experience homelessness in our community. And then we assist them whatever they need to live out their destiny and purpose in Jesus Christ. That's what it's really all about. You know, it's really about getting folks who are homeless and helpless and hopeless, but they're pointing to Jesus. Everything we do with food, clothing, whatever, it's just a tool that we use to try to develop a relationship with them. Because, you know, folks, you can't do this in one setting. You can't just bring people to the knowledge of Jesus Christ and pass them by. It takes time. It takes time. And so, and we're talking about our core values here in a minute, but that's the relationship that you have to build. It takes time. It takes that kind of commitment. How much do you want to see people change? Are you willing to invest a little bit of time to do that? And it's not just with the homeless community. It's anybody that comes your way. Don't think that somebody God sends you, you can just throw the gospel at them and they're going to be changed. It don't work like that. So there's many barriers that you have to chisel through to get people to understand what salvation is all about. To get people to understand the mission and purpose of Jesus Christ. There's so many barriers that you have to chisel through. That takes time. It takes time. You can't just get past all these blocks, these building blocks that's stopping people from coming to Christ. You can't get that and just throw in the gospel. You can't do a drive-by and just throw the gospel out and expect to get through. It takes time. You have to make a commitment to try to invest some kind of time with people, even if you meet them for the first time. Okay. So I like to differentiate the homeless community and what we do from what you have to do no matter what or who it is that God sends your way. Because as I teach the people that serve me, God bless us with a beautiful group of folks. It's just a few of us, but they're beautiful. But I have to teach them that what we're doing every week is just practice. We're down there for pretty much just 1 hour. We serve 2 locations in 1 hour. It's very intense. Patty and Dave came down there with us with a couple more people, and they know it's very intense. We have to do what we do purposely for 30 minutes, and you have no time to waste. Okay, but that's just practice. That's just practice so that when you go out to somebody else, you know how to take advantage of the little bit of time that you have and give them Christ. Every minute counts. Every minute counts. Every minute you have on this earth and you breathe, it counts. And it counts of how are you going to give somebody the gospel? How are you going to share Jesus Christ with somebody? And the time that you have is valuable. It's extremely valuable. Let me keep going here, because I think I can do this under 15 minutes. So go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. I think the next slide should, okay, well, yeah. STLT serves, this is some of the things we serve, but again, these are just tools. Hot meals, cold sandwiches, drinks, snacks, coffees, pastries, toiletries, etc. And these serve immediate needs of people. Just like Leanne. These are immediate needs that those particular people need because they have given up everything to the demon called drugs and alcohol. It says it. So they've given up everything. They've given up all they have to that, and they have nothing. So those little things, like one hot meal, all we serve is just 1 day a week on Saturdays, and we serve 1 meal. You can't feed people, just give them 1 meal. We don't feed the homeless community. We come down there with a complimentary meal so that we can spend time in relationship. And so those things they definitely need. Patty and David can attest to this. We've had people waiting in line on a Saturday morning at 7:30, waiting in line to get that meal.
Hey, real quick, sorry to interrupt, but what folks don't know is Larry's Chili has gotten such a following. Larry makes chili for these folks, and let me tell you, Gold Star and Skyline don't have nothing on Larry's Chili.
I wasn't going to say nothing about this chili. But here he goes, okay. So yes, I mean, and that's my contribution to the hot meal, though. But yes, it's kind of like they're addicted to it.
Keep coming back.
I can't show up down there without this chili.
They have to go to your truck to get it.
Yeah.
And then you get it one-on-one.
I get it. That's what it takes. It takes some kind of tool, something You have to get in somebody's space. And food is a great tool. Even if you have to invite somebody to lunch or dinner, it's still a tool that you can say, okay, now I got you in my space. Now I'm going to talk to you about Jesus. And so that's our primary goal, is to get people delivered, set free. I can't do it. You guys can do it. We can't set people free from those things. Only Christ can do it. But how are we going to give them Christ? You know what I mean? Sometimes, we think that we can just hand somebody a track and all that is fine. But again, there's so many barriers that you got to chisel through to get people to understand that they need to get the relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. Go ahead to the next screen, please. I think I can hurry up and do this. Okay. So again, this is a faith-based ministry, Christian-based. Jesus Christ has given us this vision and mission. I'll have to share this briefly, but the way I was called to this was so out of the box. I was working, I was at the end of my career at CG&E, and I was working downtown, and I was doing surveying for gas leaks. And Saturday morning, I was working overtime on Saturday, and I was down there set up, and I got up and I started walking my map. I have a map that I walk. And I started walking this map, and the bishop of my church, my pastor, had given this vision about a Jesus revolution. And I was a part of that team to help get this vision to the church. And I got out of my car, out of my truck, my company truck, and I started my walk. And I heard this voice say, this is where your revolution starts. And I knew it was the voice of God because I didn't hear it in my ears. I heard it as a vibration in my body. It's like standing behind the bass guitars and big amplifiers, and they hit that bass and your whole body shakes. That's how I heard it. So I knew it was him, and I knew it was him because of what he said. This is where your revolution starts. And I didn't know what he was talking about because I'm downtown, ain't nobody out there, and I can see it. It's 7:30 in the morning downtown. I'm looking like, what are you talking about? And I just happened walking past that park that we served in Carville on the Elm Street side, and I looked over. It was in the middle of the summer. It was in August, and I looked over and I saw every bench down there was occupied with somebody at 7:30 in the morning on Saturday. Every bench was occupied, and I knew it right then and there what God had told me. Go to the next slide, please. And so we served that particular community, the homeless community. Okay, so this is our core values. And again, just as Leanne said, you got to start with trust. So you start with trust and continuity. As I said, it takes time to do this kind of thing. You can't just go out there and throw something at folks and think you're going to get the text. So continuity is part of our trust. I can't read the other thing. So,
Building relationships.
yeah. See, and that's critical, that we build relationships. And the third is hope, restoration. We're going to talk about that in a second. But we give them hope, and we pray with them that they can be restored. That's our purpose, to bring them to restoration, to the original place that God designed us to be. Go to the next slide, please. I'm trying to keep up with it in my phone here, and I lost it. Yes, go to the next slide. Yeah, okay. So this is one of the places that we serve at. It's at 7:30 in the morning. We start right here at a church called Prince of Peace. It's downtown on Elm Street off Liberty Avenue. Ray Street, I'm sorry. Ray Street off Liberty Avenue. This, as you can see, is filled up with folks with this homeless community. Before Pastor John allowed us to do this with Prince of Peace, we were on the patio and days on this, we were on the street of Liberty, set up the tables. And these same people and more will be lined up in the street waiting for us at 7:30 in the morning. And folks, when you got folks downtown at 7:30 on a Saturday morning, that's the real deal. Okay? Ain't nobody downtown at 7:30 in the morning for folks that really need help. Can you go to the next slide, please? Hopefully I got a few minutes I can make it work. This is the program that we're working. And I'm so glad that we're able to yoke up with other ministries because this is the actual program that we're working on while we don't have a building ourselves. We're working on that building. We'll talk about that in a second. But this H2H program means homelessness to housing. And that's pretty much the emphasis of our serving now. Even though we serve and we serve them meals and get clothes and all that, our concern is getting them off the street. So one of the mantras that I use is, when you get a key, come holler at me. So, but they have to do what's necessary to get a key to a place. And when they do, we kick in and we help them out. But we also help them with all the things that's necessary, identification that they need, all the things that's necessary, and we help them, aid them with, in order for them to get to the point of being able to get housing. Yes, ma'am.
Just one.
Yes, ma'am. Just 1 minute. Good. Go to the next slide, please. I got 1 minute, and I think I can wrap this up. Okay. This is the Hope Restoration Center that we're praying for, and that you guys can probably pray with us and help us and support us to help it. But we're searching for a building in the downtown Cincinnati area. And it's called, God already gave us a name for it, the Hope Restoration Center, where we will help build hope in those individuals that we serve, just as BLOC is doing. Okay. It's reaching the unreached is pretty much what our purpose is. And we're able to, God bless us, we're able to train folks to be able to do this. Bethany Church and other churches, we're able to train them to be able to do this. This is the Project Multitude that we have participated in with our church and 2 more churches in this past June. Again, this is the thing that we're called to do, to yoke up with other churches to help spread the message of Jesus Christ to all of those, not just homelessness, but everybody. And we were able to do that at this ministry, STLT. I think it's just one more slide, and I'm out of here. This is a concert that's coming up. It's going to be a fundraiser that we're doing, and I think this church has already got flyers for it. Hallelujah. I hope you guys can participate and come and help with us. We also have flyers out in the foyer that you can pick up on the way out. They can give you other information about how you can help and support us. I do hope that I can see you guys down there. We need people that can volunteer, come down, and pray. You just pray. You just come down and pray. We volunteer so many ways. So pick up a flyer on your way out in the foyer and see what it is that you can do to try to help support us and help get the gospel out there to those who don't know it. Okay? God bless you. Thank you for your time.
And I am gratefully a person that is in recovery. Kyle?
Kyle, I'm grateful for 4.5 years of recovery.
Yes.
Blessed to meet Christine when I was actually a client in Sojourners, and that is where her and my journey kind of began together.
That's absolutely right. So I work for Sojourner Recovery Services. I deal with people that are in active addiction. I met Kyle, and at that time I was going out to a place called Tent City, and we were feeding sandwiches to people that were living at Tent City in Hamilton. And anybody can give a sandwich. Anybody can give food. But it's what you do with that sandwich, or that bag of chips, or that toothbrush that makes the difference. Kyle started volunteering with me, and we also had another gentleman by the name of Lawrence Williams, Slim. And did I hear somebody know Lawrence? Did somebody know Lawrence? He was a longtime Hamilton resident. And he went out with us every Sunday. Sunday afternoon, Slim started singing Amazing Grace to us. Monday morning, I went home, one of my best friends. Slim had died in the dialysis chair. The next day, I woke up and I said, we're going to name our ministry Slim, Saving Lives in Ministry. Wow. That's a God thing. And that's why we've been able to continue our journey. Kyle started volunteering when he was a client at Sojourner, and he has stayed with us the whole way. 85% of the people that we serve are in active addiction. 87% of the people are living in crisis and transitioning to a new life. I could stand up here and I can spew numbers to you. And I have to tell you, there's 4 of us that do this. And last year we served over 10,000 meals. 10,000 meals. We got 32 people into substance use treatment and 14 individuals entered mental health treatment here in the local Hamilton district. We also have a birth certificate and ID program. You know, we take having our birth certificates and our IDs for granted. But you can't get into substance use treatment. You can't get mental health treatment. You can't get a job unless you have a birth certificate and an ID. There's $35 right there. That's if you're born in Ohio. If you're not born in Ohio, we're talking about $60. 24 people entered sober living. So these are the things that we do. We are in the trenches. And I think some of you probably saw me running in and out right at the beginning. And one of our volunteers, who has passed 32 days of sobriety, sent me a message. And he found somebody overdosing in the alley. Now, our friends that are recently new to this recovery thing are scared to call because the police haven't always been their friends. But they'll call Kyle and I and say, hey, we need help. So we got this telephone call that so-and-so was overdosing. I got out, I called the squad, they Narcaned him, and he's alive. So you talked about helping one person at a time, and that's exactly what we are doing. So I'd like to give Kyle a few minutes to tell you what we do on Saturdays. We also have flyers out there. If you love to cook, we need you. If you love to talk to people, we need you. If you have socks that don't have holes in them, we need them, right? If you have Kroger bags, that's what we package our meals in. We need them. Did I say if you like to cook, we need you? I'm getting really tired of cooking, but that's okay, that's okay. We're serving an average about 150 meals every Saturday and over 100 meals on Wednesday. So I'd like to give some time to Kyle. It's just by the grace of God that we've been doing so well. We are a grassroots organization. We don't get any government funding. We don't get any grant funding. We get our friends. And many of those friends that are helping us have been on the streets, have been in active addiction, and are coming back to help us. Kyle?
So on Saturdays, we are very fortunate to be able to partner with the New Life Missions in Hamilton. They allow us to use their building and we serve our meals there. We kind of started and got our foundations at Power Source Ministries on Front Street in Hamilton. And that's where we pretty much got our base camp set up at. We have our clothing pantry there. We do a meal there on Wednesday nights. And that's kind of where we get all of our donations and do a lot of the things that these other organizations have talked about, going through and kind of making the clothing pantries and all that stuff, getting the hygiene kits put together for everyone that's in need. I feel fortunate because I was homeless for 1.5 years in Atlanta when I was in active addiction, so I know what it's like and I know what's needed, having been there and then now got to where I'm at. And it's good and comforting to be able to give back to those that they're my people. That's me, but by God's grace, I would still be that person probably homeless on the streets, addicted to drugs. We are very fortunate in Hamilton especially. We know, mostly Christine, we have a lot of other agencies that we're able to work with. So if people need resources for addiction, mental health, whatever it might be, even SNAP benefits, we have people in connections with all those resources that we can refer people to. And really a big part of what we do is just kind of helping people overcome their obstacles by connecting them with the agencies that can help with their needs the most. So we appreciate all the food that is donated every Saturday. That goes into our meals so much. It's so greatly appreciated. On top of cooking, because Christine does all the meal preps and does all the scheduling for that, so I know she's had her fair share of it.
Yes.
We can also always use clothing, especially men's clothing. It is our #1 thing that we cannot keep in our pantry. men's jeans, t-shirts, polo shirts, just casual attire. It is so hard for anywhere between like a 32 waist to a 36 waist. Like when we get them, they're gone. We got a wait list for people that are asking for that, and shoes between size 9 and 13s. So those are like items that we really, really need. So if you guys know of anybody that has extra, or if you guys are able to do like some type of clothing drive or something, that would be so greatly appreciated.
I spend about 15 to 20 hours on the streets of Hamilton, pulling people into treatment and hooking them up to the resources that are needed to transition from that life of crisis. And you were exactly right. It's all about relationships. If you meet somebody one time, they remember your face. But it takes several times for people to learn to trust you. Because our friends on the streets are survivors. It took this man a while to trust me. I trust him with my life. It's all about relationship building. We talk about praying, we talk about giving back, and people ask us a lot of times, why do you do what you do? It is such a simple answer. It's because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Some people aren't comfortable dealing with people that are struggling in addiction, or that don't have a sound place to lay their head at night. I get it, and I'm okay with that. That doesn't mean that you can't help. Like Kyle said, we need donations. We need food. We need prayer. We need your help. I can't get my mind off of this gentleman that just overdosed. If somebody wouldn't have been there for him, he would be dead now. So I ask that you all pray for him, because I was supposed to pick him up tomorrow to go to treatment. Maybe this is what it's going to take for him to come back to us. Kyle, do you have anything that you'd like to say? Are you sure? We are a grassroots organization. We just do it. We don't have anything fancy, guys. We're just here. We do it. You are more than welcome to come and hang out with us on a Saturday. We're at 415 Henry Street every Saturday. You know, when Bethany comes in with the food, it's like a circus for us, because I'll be making something and I'll go, oh my gosh, I needed that. And you know, they bring all the salsa. Now I don't have to chop the onions. And so anything, you know, canned goods, anything would be a help with the amount of people that we're feeding. Like I said, we fed over 10,000 meals last year, and there's 4 of us. So that's a lot of salsa. So thank you, God bless you, and thank you guys right here for everything that you do, and I bless your ministry. Thank you so much.
You gotta hustle up, because Esperanza Viva needs to get set up. Gosh, thank you guys. I think you can't hear about Jesus if your stomach's growling. You know, I think meeting these physical needs is just so vital to begin those relationships, to have those conversations. And you're right, it may not be with someone who's experiencing addiction or homelessness, but we always have to be ready. The woman in the grocery store, or the guy you work next to, whoever it is. So thank you for showing us ways we can get involved. Christina, any cooks? Is that true? We may have a few cooks around this place.
I'm definitely not a cook, but I've really been thrown into this.
We have a few cooks around here. I think we have some socks for you guys. I think we have another little support for each of you. You guys have questions? There are flyers out there in the gathering place. Find me, find Bonnie. We will make sure that we connect you with any of the ministries. If you feel led to support them financially, listen to that lead. Thank you guys for being here, and wait, Bobby's doing hand gestures. I don't know, semaphore.
So what we'd like to do is have the speakers be at the table, and anybody that has questions, go see them, talk to them, have the flyer. It's got their QR to their website.
Okay, so y'all run down there.